So there were just people taking my pictures, and I got angry. I'm like, what are you doing? Who gave you permission? Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely Grace Jones. I like Grace Jones. I like her. She's so bold, you know, and the way she dresses, even at her age now, she dresses so great. And I think she's always been brave in the way she dresses, and also her personality. Her mindset was very different from the mainstream when she was in the 80s. I mean, people always question her sexuality and her gender, like, you know, you look like a man, you dress like a man, and she wasn't into it all that. But back then, that was terrifying for people. And you know, I like her because of the way she thinks and because she was daring at times when it was not normal, and the way she dresses, and she's fierce. And you know, so I've always been, if there's one person that's very inspirational to me, it's always Grace Jones, because she's everything that I aspire to be.
Do you have any specific thing you would want to share that's gonna happen, or?
Yeah, what I'm hoping for the next season to come is I'm gonna try to do runways. So far I've been doing shoots and that and magazines and stuff. So I'm gonna go for runway. So I'm in that process of, you know, getting my photos taken for that and learning how to walk, and you know, meeting casting directors and stuff. So that's where I'm at. That is for my goal in the next 6 months that's coming. So definitely that's what I'm looking forward to doing.
Does it scare you, the whole walk thing? Have you had any anxieties about it, or?
Yeah, I do, you know, especially because, you know, when I'm doing a shoot, you know, you get to touch the clothes and you get to work with the clothes in a different way than when you're just doing the runway. And it's very hectic and everyone is so stressful. Everyone is so stressed. So, you know, I'm always used to adding a little bit of me into what I'm wearing. But when you're doing a runway, because, you know, also if you're doing a shoot, I always get along with the stylist. I'm like, oh, you know, how about maybe a hat with this look, you know? I can get away with things. But, you know, when it's runway, I don't think I can. I think it'll just be like, go, go, go. So I'm looking forward to that. And also just, you know, feeling, you know, what the casting directors and the designers, what they're looking for and what kind of story they want to tell throughout the runway. So I'm very excited to be part of that, because that's something that I have not been part of yet, because I'm always a guest and I always I interpret it the way I want to. But now that I get to be part of the one telling the story, and I think that's very special and something that I'm looking forward to.
How was it for you, like the first time you kind of arrived to whatever fashion week and people were like, whoa, who are you?
Who are you?
Snapping pictures.
And the first time I went to it was Oslo Runway, and back then I didn't know there was a street stylist, no street photographers. So there were just people taking my pictures, and I got angry. I'm like, what are you doing? Who gave you permission? Like, and I thought he's such a creep. I'm like, no. And then he told me to go somewhere because he wanted my picture behind a certain wall. I'm like, I'm going to call the cops. It's not happening. What the hell? I was like, are you crazy? And I was so shocked. I was like, it's daylight. What's wrong with you? And then I walked off, and then he was like, he just kept taking my pictures, and he didn't look like a tourist. So I'm like, this is so odd. And I thought, you know, he's probably on some drugs. And then I just walked to the show, and then I saw all these photographers taking pictures. And then one Norwegian guy, he came up to me and he was like, do you know who that guy is? Did he take your photo? I said, well, he tried to, but I don't know who he is. And then he's like, oh, you know, he's this really big street style photographer. He runs this account, and he has like 900K and stuff. And I'm like, oh, so he's legit? Because yeah, I'm okay. And then I was too embarrassed to go back and be like, hey, sorry I called you creep. You can have my photo. So at first, that was my first impression of them. But afterwards, it just became, I feel like I'm working with them. So I'm like, you send me those pictures later so I can post it on my gram, and then I will give you the photo that you want. So it's just like, they're a part of, I feel like both of us are part of this big world of fashion, and we're all trying to make it. So it's just good. So, you know, like when I go to Paris, I have, you know, because they do because this is their job, right? So they do it year after year, season after season. So you get to know them. And I had dinners with the photographers, and because they're human, and you get to know the human they are, and they get to know you. So it's fun.
Choosing to go that way, was that something that just happened with Instagram?
Yeah.
Or like, how did your decision, or did you make a decision, or what
Yeah.
actually?
Well, yeah. I think I always say this, you know, I always feel very grateful to the journey that I had, because some people have a lifetime of career before they get to do the jobs that I get to do now. And, you know, within 6 months I did all the magazines that I wanted to do. So for me, I always felt so grateful, and it's something that I didn't even dream of it, because it wasn't even on my mind at the moment. I didn't think it was an option for me. So for me, for people to be able to see me as a legitimate person, a person they want to work with, and they understand me for my style, and they appreciate that about me, that is something that I really enjoy, and it makes me feel very special. But you know, most of the times I don't even get to process things, because there's one thing after the other. Like, I get so shocked. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna do this. Who is he? I mean, he's so big. Why do I get to meet him? So you do the show, and then, you know, or the shoot, I mean, and people that maybe you have looked up to since you were 13 years old is telling you, oh, would she like to wear our design? I'm like, you know who I am? You know what I mean? Or there's like a dress that I want to wear, and then, you know, my manager will tell me, oh, well, Beyonce has that dress, but they'll give you right after. And I'm like, the what? You know, so I feel like, I'm just like, wow. And I do feel very, very special. They make me feel very special, and I'm so grateful for that. Yeah.
Have you always like been in touch with this confident side of yourself?
Yeah.
Or do you feel that this is something that came later in life, or?
Yeah, no, I think, you know, when I was growing, when we went to the asylum, so it's like a refugee camp when you come to Norway. I think because I didn't speak the language, and then we were in this area where, you know, most of the people, they didn't want it to be a refugee camp. So the local people were very hateful towards us. So I think I think that's when I mentally decided that I was going to be confident in who I am, because I feel like everyone else was, you know, trying to change me, or because I started wearing hijab when I was 6 years old. So when we came here, people stopped picking me on the hijab and on my skin color. So everywhere, so the adults in my school, they said, you know, maybe people will bully her less if she takes off the scarf. So I felt as though everyone was trying to change me to fit into a certain look that they wanted me to be, so they could be comfortable. So I think that's when I decided that, well, if I'm going to keep changing, then I have to selling my soul. I have to sacrificing myself, and people are never pleased. You know, if you take off the scarf, then I'm still dark skinned. I'm still a black girl. What are you going to do about my skin color then? Then the skin becomes an emotion, an issue, I mean. So I think back then I decided that, you know, I might as well just be who I am, because I kind of like this person. So everyone else just have to get with it, or they could just get out of the way. So I think that's when I kind of just like, I like who I am, I'm kind of cool, so let me just go for it.
Do you think you got this toughness from like growing up with like many boys and?
Oh, absolutely, yes. I remember one time I came home crying because I was 8, and I told my brothers like, oh, you know, kids are mean to me, and they're like, what did they tell you? Because, you know, they're calling me ugly. And then he was like, what if they called you an old man? Would you still be upset? And I'm like, what the hell? No, that's weird. He goes, why wouldn't you be upset? And I told him, well, because I'm not an old man. Because that's right, you're not ugly, so why do you care what they say? So my brothers, they just brushed off everything. Nothing was a problem. And, you know, if I came home and I was upset, my mother would talk about it, and then my brothers would just be like, oh, you talk so much about your emotions, let's play football. And I'd go play football with them. And, you know, I was just like one of them. They would just toss me around and teach me football. And because I spent so much time with them, I became really good at sports. So everyone else would like, oh, okay, she's a good runner, she's good at sports. So then people started to accepting me. And then because I looked up to my brothers, so if they wanted to be my friend, I'm like, well, I have to be pretty cool, because they're kind of cool. So they gave me a lot of confidence.
Do you have any type of message you would want to give the people that look up to you, that maybe would want to someday work in fashion, but maybe don't know how to get there?
How to get there, yeah. I think as cliche as it sounds when everyone says, you know, just be yourself, I always think you have to sort out the emotions that you have in you, the stuff, and all the things that are undone within yourself, you need to sort them out. Because, you know, especially fashion is such a tough industry, and it's very, is very crucial industry, and you're judged on the way you perform, you know. And so I think, you know, if you are feeling good with yourself, it's easier to take critique and then learn from it rather than go home and be upset and feel like there's something wrong with you, you know. So I think, you know, and it doesn't only have to be in fashion, it can be in anywhere, you know, whatever aspect you are and whatever you want to do with your life. If your groundwork is good, then everything else you decide to do in life will be good, because at the end of the day, you are who you are and you can't really change it. So if you're happy with who you are and you have sorted out, you know, the self-hatred that you have and the doubts that you have within yourself, if you come into a room and you're happy with yourself, then nothing else people can do is not going to affect you, you know, in a bad way. So I think if you're comfortable in your own skin, and if you have come past to the fact that, you know, you enjoy the person you are and you like your own company, then it doesn't really matter if those people in the room doesn't like you. And because you have that energy and that aura within yourself, it's going to make people like, oh shit, who is she, you know? You walk into a room, you got to be confident in who you are, and as the woman you are, the man you are, and what you present is good for them, because there's a reason why you're sitting at the table.